Hello and welcome back to Megajordinary. Before I start this video, I just want to say thank you so much for 1000 subs. I literally cannot believe that we have 1000 subscribers in this channel. It's like we're a little family, like-minded people, and it just makes me so happy that you enjoy the videos that we produce and you like our content. So here's to many more years of content. I just want to let you know that we appreciate and love each and every one of you, and thank you so much for your continued support. Also, if my voice is a little hoarse, that's because I was away for the weekend and I'm still recovering. I find like just staying in hotels and stuff, like the aircon, and just messes with your system. Yeah, so that's why I sound a little raspy today. Without further delay, let's get into this video. I am going to be discussing the mysterious legend of the Loch Ness monster. I actually done a TikTok series on this a couple of months back, but I just found it so interesting that I just wanted to compile it all into one video, so here we are. It's no doubt that the Loch Ness monster is one of the most famous mythical sea creatures of all time. I'm pretty sure everybody on the planet has heard of the myth legend of the Loch Ness monster. So the Loch Ness monster, Nessie as the Scottish refer to the creature as, is supposedly a prehistoric sea creature that inhabits the Loch Ness in the Scottish Highlands. I've never been to the Loch Ness, but people I know that have been there said that it's extremely eerie there. It kind of has a lot of fog around it, it's really quiet, so it kind of fits the scene for a prehistoric sea creature to be hiding there. Reports of sightings of the Loch Ness monster actually date back to the 6th century AD. A long time ago. But it wasn't until 1933 that the legend of the Loch Ness monster started to gain a lot of popular attention in the media and worldwide. And thus, as you can imagine, these reports brought a lot of tourists to Loch Ness. So these sightings of the Loch Ness monster describe a beast, or describe something that is said to look very like a plesiosaur. And a plesiosaur is an ancient dinosaur or an ancient sea creature. So it has a long neck and one big hump that protrudes up through the water. So now I'm going to mention some honourable mentions. I'm going to talk about some alleged photographs of the Loch Ness monster that were taken and became very famous throughout the years. So this photograph was taken by a man named Hugh Gray on the 12th of November 1933. And this is actually considered the first photographic evidence of the Loch Ness monster. And as you can see, the picture was taken in 1933, so it's very blurry. It's not a clear photograph by any means. A lot of people actually speculate that this was Hugh Gray's Labrador that had jumped into the water to retrieve a stick, and this photograph is a result of that. And that he decided that he just wanted to say that it was the Loch Ness monster. Now this photo is called the surgeon's photograph. This is called the surgeon's photograph because it was apparently taken by a London gynecologist and was then obtained and published in the Daily Mail in April 1934. Apparently within the surgeon's photo collection there were 4 photographs, but only 2 of these photographs actually developed. You know, the way back then it wasn't like take a picture on your iPhone, take a picture on a camera. You had to take a photograph and then develop it. Total different ballgame to now. And the surgeon's photographs are now said to have been a hoax. Well, they're widely believed to have been a hoax. But I don't know. What else could it have been? It looks very specific, like protruding neck. It just looks really like, what could you mistake that for? Or what could you use to capture this photograph to make it look like what it looks like, especially back in the 1930s? I don't know. Now this picture here is taken from the Taylor film. Now the Taylor film was a 3-minute 16mm colour film taken by a South African tourist that was visiting the loch called G.E. Taylor. Now a science writer called Maurice Burton, he obtained the footage and he then published just this single frame from the whole film. He actually published it in his book called Elusive Monsters. Even though he done this, he then concluded that this was actually a floating object in the frame and in the film, and not Nessie. And now I want to talk about the Holmes film from 2007. Weirdly enough, well, I don't know if it's weirdly enough because I mean we are talking about the Loch Ness Monster, so why would this be weird? Okay, Megan. But a lot of people do think that this was actually just an otter swimming across the loch.
Taken at the weekend by an amateur scientist who happened to spot a fast-moving creature swimming across the world-famous.
And now we have this video from 2013. Yet again, watch very closely.
Yeah. Here we are at Fort Augustus. Something moving in the water on Loch Ness. No idea what it is.
I don't know. What do you think? So strangely enough, sightings of the Loch Ness Monster actually reached an all-time high in 2019 and 2020. So this picture now, you're going to have to look really, really hard at this picture. This photograph in particular is alleged to have been taken back in December 2020 by a tourist that was actually at the loch with her husband. One of the rangers actually at Loch Ness said that maybe the surge in sightings at the loch during the pandemic was because we were in a pandemic and there was actually less tourists to the loch. The ranger is alluding to the fact that maybe because there was less people at the loch, apparently, the monster, Nessie, decided to come up a bit more to the surface. Okay, so now we have reached a point where I think we should talk about some of the possible explanations for this phenomenon and some theories. A lot of people conclude that there is no single explanation for the Loch Ness Monster phenomenon. It is heavily speculated though that sightings are just misidentified sightings of exotic animals that have ventured into the loch. Bird wakes being one. So apparently when the loch is calm, there has been a lot of sightings of bird wakes. Now just to clarify what bird wakes are, they are normally birds of prey like vultures. So they kind of go in a zigzag motion, pecking at the water. And some scientists have claimed that the Loch Ness Monster sightings could be down to a prehistoric eel still living in the loch, or just a really, really large eel. So in 2019, New Zealand scientists underwent a project to document every living organism in Loch Ness from DNA samples, and they concluded that European eels do still live in the loch, but no DNA evidence of plesiosaurs, catfish or any other large sea creature organism living in the loch. And then there are people that believe trees could be to blame, that people are mistaken fallen trees and branches as Nessie. Now this one I found interesting, seismic gas. So an Italian geologist called Luigi Picardi has proposed geological explanations for a lot of ancient legends and myths. He says that the Loch Ness in particular is along the Great Glen Fault, and he said that the earliest sighting or recorded of sightings of the Loch Ness Monster, which goes back way back when, like to 6 AD, said that the creature's emergence was accompanied by a loud roar. And so this could have been a description of an earthquake that rippled the water and caused whoever first seen the Loch Ness Monster to think that it was a monster because the noise, the water, it very well could have. Because Luigi says that this large disturbance, such as an earthquake, could release a gas through a fault, and then it would ripple through the water, up through the water, and could cause the appearance of someone or something swimming in the water. And then of course you just have plain old folklore and hoaxes. But I really believe that folklore and all ancient histories and myths and legends have some truth to them, 100%, because they withstood the test of time for centuries. And why would people back then, why would they lie? Why would the legends live on? I'm just a firm believer that there is some truth in myths and legends, 100%. But what do you think? Are any of these ideas plausible to you? Do you think, oh yeah, that explains it? Or do you think there actually is something lurking in the Loch Ness? Also, if you're from Scotland or if you've ever been to the Loch Ness, please let me know if you ever seen anything, what the atmosphere was like there. As we said earlier on, it seems to be everyone kind of has a general consensus that it's really eerie, fits the scene for a monster lurking in the water. But yeah, let me know down below in the comments. But thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you can be notified when we drop a new video on our channel. Subscribe if you haven't already, spread the word, and thank you so much again for 1,000 subs, and thank you for all your continued support and love. Until next time, bye.